Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dion's Daily Dose here, and I'm here with my buddy Jim for a coffee break. Welcome, Jim.
Morning.
So we're gonna pick up where we left off. Our previous discussion, we were well into the movie that our guys breakdown, your opinion of the movie Civil War from 2024.
Yeah, do you even remember where we left off?
A little. I know that we talked about. Let's see here. We covered. Oh, one thing that I did want to bring up while I'm thinking about it is in the movie there's a particular scene, because we were talking about the hotel scene where they're in the hotel and it's the hotel all the reporters are staying at.
Right.
And the young girl tracks down the
Lee.
And Lee essentially starts yelling at her and tells her that she needs to invest in Kevlar and a helmet.
Right.
Right? She tells the girl to get a helmet and Kevlar, right? I better see you wearing it. But Lee wasn't. Right?
Right.
So I found it funny how she's giving her this unsolicited advice. And yes, it's good advice.
Well,
But
I mean,
how are you gonna?
if I could,
Brody.
well, if I can kind of, you know, not necessarily defend Lee, but you know, Lee's been doing this a long time.
Okay.
She's covered a lot of like serious global conflicts.
Right,
you know,
right.
like she's been overseas. You know, rebel. You know, incursions and da 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 da. So she's been doing this a long time.
Right.
And you know, Kevlar in a helmet's nice. It's not perfect.
Yeah,
you know, the best defense you can have in a situation like that, and a lot of situations in general, is situational awareness.
Right. And I think that's really important for people.
And that's, you know, that's something Lee has, and something that Lee knows Jesse doesn't have.
Okay.
Especially being young. You know as well as I do, young people feel like immortal.
Invulnerable, immortal. Yeah.
You know, life is forever. You know, like nobody that age thinks about, you know, when that time comes.
Right.
You know, there's a certain, you know, willful recklessness. And I think that's what that was all about.
Okay. Yeah, I found it funny.
And through the rest of the movie, Lee's wearing her Kevlar.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, later, yeah.
You know, she's not wearing it in the beginning because she doesn't feel like bullets are going to fly.
Okay.
And she has that situational awareness, that experience. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I hear it. Anyway, I wanted to mention that while I was thinking about it because it's something that.
No, yeah, totally.
It irked me a little.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's just like you know, you see like, you know, you've done blue collar work in the past. You got those old hands that, you know, they don't wear their safety glasses like they should. They're not wearing their gloves or this or that and the other.
Right.
But
they'll get on your ass if you're not.
Yeah, but you know, the new guy, they're going to show him how to do it the right way.
Right.
And then after,
G better wear them.
and after that, you're on your own.
Fair. I hear you. I hear you. It was just a little irksome. I'm like, where's
Mhm.
yours at?
You know,
Biznatch?
and there was kind of that underlying you haven't paid your dues, you know, little girl
Okay.
kind of feel to it.
So overarching, right? The movie itself.
hmm
I drew some very, very interesting parallels to, I guess, our current, not what we're at, obviously not what's happening right this second, but the, trying to think of the exact word for it, but maybe the belief or the delusion that some people have about how a civil war in the United States would actually go. And I think,
well, you know what? I'm glad you touched on that.
yeah,
It was a very watered down portrayal, like
yes.
in a vacuum.
Okay.
You know, like you had mentioned before, there was no preamble, there was no backstory, there was no whys or anything like that.
Yeah.
And what I found particularly interesting was, one of the things that we spoke about in a previous episode
Mhm.
is okay, so now you're fighting the government and you win.
Right.
Now what?
Now what? Exactly.
There's no end game.
No.
It's
No.
just,
Yeah. Okay. Tyranny defeated.
yeah, we're taking you down.
Right.
All the Ewoks dance. It's
Right. Yeah, exactly. All the Ewoks dance and up in the the sky. But then what?
Yeah, but then what? And that was a very, for being in a vacuum like that, it struck me personally as, okay, this is what would happen if people just went, okay, I've had enough, let's go fight.
Yeah.
Even during the American Revolution,
Right.
we started with the Continental Congress.
Right.
We
That was the
had
first step. Right.
we had those men who were thinking of things and what comes next, and like again, once, like we mentioned in a previous episode, they didn't want a war.
Right.
They just wanted to negotiate.
Yeah,
And you
we're left no other option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely need like the men of action, the warriors, but you also need the thinking men,
Right.
the ones that are thinking of the times when you're not fighting.
Yeah, well, there has to be an end game. There has to be a goal that you're going for beyond just
Absolutely.
removing these people or getting rid of those people.
I'm speculating here, but I almost feel like the filmmaker did that by design. Number one, it's like it's a 2-hour movie.
Sure.
We're not thinking about what comes next.
Yeah.
That's why the movie ended where it ended.
Yeah. It wasn't meant to be.
But I kind of feel like, for those of us that are really paying attention, it's kind of that little wink wink.
Okay.
Yeah, you can talk all day long about fighting, but do you got a plan?
Right. Let's say, for example, that the American people do rise up, right, to overthrow the shackles of perceived tyranny these days, and actual, doing a real insurrection such as it is, right? Then what? What do you do? Right.
Well, then it's like Sammy said in the beginning of the movie, the Western forces and the Florida Alliance, they have no coordination. And as soon as they take out the government, they'll be at each other's throats.
Yeah. Because again, no real plan.
Yeah. There's no unification. There's no, it's very short. They all have the same short-sighted goal.
Yeah. It's just a matter of
knock the king off the hill. Well, then what?
So what do you think were some I guess, not so obvious messages, or not even messages, takeaways, learning experiences from
Well,
this.
One glaring takeaway to me was the absolute absence of the legislative branch.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, we got to get the president. We
Right.
got to get the president. We got to get the president. Well, okay.
Yeah.
It's not the first time somebody's killed a president.
Right.
The government did not topple.
Right. As a matter of fact, Sean and I, face to face, we actually did a segment on how chaotic the government was during the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually really, really interesting, number one, to find out that, yes, we have a contingency plan such as it is, but like, for example, the vice president was elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
George Bush was in Dallas at the time, and the cabinet essentially took over the government until the vice president arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not supposed to happen that way, obviously.
Right. There's a chain.
Mm-hmm.
There's a definite,
Right. Chain of command that's supposed to happen. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very interesting, I think, to see what we think is going to happen versus the reality of these types of situations, and to learn that, oh my God, people are human. They make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, everything's not nearly as cut and dry as they make it out to be.
Right. But going back to that whole thing,
Yeah.
It seemed to me like there was to me, not so subtle message, but in general might be a little subtle.
Okay.
That, the whole exchange was just pointless.
Right.
It was just pointless. Well, why would you even do this? That was just how I felt while I'm watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Is, it was kind of like an after school special why you shouldn't smoke marijuana.
Yeah, reefer madness, man.
Yeah. So
yeah, and that's
he kept the filmmaker kept pounding it in that oh, this isn't a political movie, and I'm not taking a stance, I'm not taking a side. It's like, yeah, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I'm really not buying it. That's not the feel I'm getting.
No.
When the whole focus of the movie is killing the president, regardless of what the president has done and this and that and the other, this is like, you're really driving this whole thing home.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill the president and anybody who stands in our way.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned that, because not that long ago there was an article in the Atlantic, I believe, that had some very obvious nods towards suggesting the assassination of DJT.
Mm-hmm.
There have also been multiple, Hollywood personalities who have said some very outlandish stuff that for some reason doesn't get them locked up, which kind of confuses me. But, were you and I to say some crazy stuff like that, it'd be over. But I think there are some definite undercurrents there of, definitive, this is what we want kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it's it really kind of seemed to me, he wasn't leaning left or leaning right, but it was kind of that whole head in the sand kind of mentality underneath it all, where it was just like, just go with the flow, man. I know stuff is bad, but this isn't the answer. Give peace a chance.
Yeah,
that kind of
thing.
That kind of thing.
And no matter how you look at the film, I think one of the most interesting things about the film itself, from a perspective of someone who went in expecting a certain type of movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was portrayed as an action movie. We talked about that last episode.
Right.
And then to settle in and watch it, and then you're at least I was constantly asking myself, okay, why? Like, how did this come about? And the nod is there, obviously, that the president's a dictator and da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the focus is so heavily on solely on the elimination of this individual. One scene I do want to mention. So they get to this scene where they're unloading bodies. We talked about that before, on the back of the truck.
Yeah, on the dump truck.
Right, on the dump truck. And the little group of men there is holding them at gunpoint, and says, the reporter guy, Joel says, there's must be some mistake, or calm down. We're Americans, right? What kind of Americans are you?
Yeah,
that was the retort. And that's a very interesting question.
Well, let me give you my take on that.
Yeah,
that line made for an excellent blurb.
Yep,
was very impactful in the preview.
Right,
very impactful trailer. Yeah, made for a great trailer. In the movie, it lost something. Because he's asking, where are you from? Well, I'm from Florida. Oh, South America. And then, asks Lee's from Colorado. He's like, see, that's American.
Yeah. Like, not Minnesota.
Missouri.
Missouri.
Jesse was from Missouri.
Jesse was from Missouri.
He's like, see,
she was from Colorado. Right.
America.
Right.
And then another guy they're traveling with, another reporter.
Yeah.
He says, where are you from?
Yep. And
he says Hong Kong.
Right.
Oh, Hong Kong. And then shoots him.
Right. Oh, China. And then shoots him. Right.
Did you notice the way he said China?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Another heavy nod.
But a very convenient coincidence.
Right. That's a good, that's a good retort. But the reason I bring up this scene is because Walter, who Lee was extremely critical of just a few minutes ago.
Sammy, not Walter.
Sammy. Yeah. Sammy. I'm not.
You keep wanting to call him Walter.
I keep wanting to call him Walter. I'm not entirely sure why. But so Lee was extremely critical of Sammy a few minutes before, talking about how he was too old, go wait in the truck, kind of thing.
Well, he was the one that was, I'm telling you, every fiber of my being is telling me if we go over there, it's death. They're going to kill us.
Yep. And look who was right. But he's in the truck, right? Saves their bacon.
Yeah.
Right? Comes flying in the truck, knocks the guys out, and he's yelling at them, hello, McFly, get your butts in the vehicle, right? But they get in, they're driving away, and it turns out that he's been injured, right? He's bleeding. One of the most infuriating parts of this damn movie for me is they just let him bleed the hell out.
Right.
Nobody. Now, there are how many years of combat experience reporting in that vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Damn good and well, they've at minimum seen people apply field dressing, staunch wounds, etc. And they just let him freaking die.
Yeah.
Like, nobody even bothered to try to stop or help or anything.
Right. And they drove for a long
time. A long time. I'm like, what? Hello? What?
Well, you would actually be surprised how many people all their knowledge and all their training and everything else, when when posteriors are on the line, that all goes out the window.
I get that, right? I do. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like you said, they drove for a while, and at some point, you would think somebody,
you got to think, Joel's just freaking out,
right?
He's just banging on the steering wheel and crying and just freaking the hell out.
Yeah.
Lee's having a crisis of character development.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse's Jesse.
And
I don't know. It was just that. Like I said, it was probably one of the single most infuriating things.
It was.
I could have easily.
Yeah, not so much as a towel over it.
Right. I that's what I'm saying. Had they tried to do something,
anything.
right? Anything, and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because you would think that, okay, Joel's driving. Joel's got to drive. Right. Somebody's got to drive.
Somebody has to drive, right?
So they pull him out of the driver's seat because he was driving. Joel gets in the driver's seat.
Yep.
Okay, Joel's got to drive.
Yep.
Because we need that cool level-headedness behind the wheel.
Yeah. Ooh, right.
Lee puts Sammy in the back and then walks around to the passenger side front.
Yep.
Because shotgun.
Right. Hello, yeah.
Yeah. It's a Ford excursion, I think.
Yeah, I think it was an excursion.
I believe they have pretty roomy back seats.
They do. Yeah, it was just that entire scene was just
chalk that up to, in the script he dies.
Right. So we
don't have time.
We don't have time to apply dressings or try to stop bleeding or anything like that.
Yeah, because we gotta get to the scene where they're driving through the burning forest, because that's
right. Yeah. So that was really like the last major point that I wanted to make.
He died as a victim of cinematic artistry.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are plenty of. That's the thing, the movie itself was a passable movie. It was mid, right? Definitely wasn't the greatest movie I've ever seen. It definitely wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. But there were some infuriating parts of the movie that, had they fixed those, I think it would have been, at least for me, a little bit better received. Yeah. But, again, at the end, where this stupid kid was told repeatedly, yank back, move, get down, stay back, no. She ends up getting, again, I argue she's responsible for out of the main characters, the single greatest body count of anyone. Or she's responsible for the most deaths, bar none.
Well, okay, let's talk about that particular scene. Now, that's at the end.
Yeah.
In the White House.
Right.
She goes to get that, that Pulitzer shot. And Lee shoves her out of the way and then stands there in true hardened, journalistic fashion.
Right. Why not dive and knock her? Yeah.
Catches a bullet in what I assume in her Kevlar.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is we never see where.
Well, we don't know that she actually died, because
true. She's just laying there.
Yeah, she's laying there because Kevlar or not, you take a bullet, it hurts. Oh yeah, it hurts a lot. You're talking. You got broken ribs. She at least got the wind knocked out of her.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not like a John Wick movie where you just fucking kind of do this and keep fighting.
Yeah.
It's gonna put you on your ass.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that I see a lot in. John Wick is just one of many offenders, right? And it's an action movie. We want to see action. We don't necessarily want to see real life. But one of the things that I've found when it comes to preparing for the worst, right? You know, because we've talked about prepping before,
Mm-hmm.
but is the exclusion or not thinking about defensive protection of some sort, right? Whether it's plates, whether it's soft, whatever. But those who, with exceptions, obviously, guys out there who know what you're doing, not talking about you, but the average uninitiated, right, looks at body armor or whatever and thinks it's a be all end all and is
Right.
going to, you know, stop anything and everything.
Right.
Doesn't work that way.
No,
And
not
even
not
if it does
not
stop
even
it from being
close.
fatal, it's going to
Yeah.
hurt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even your, you know, level 4 plates,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they'll stop, you know, pretty much anything short of a 50 BMG a couple times.
Right.
If it hits the plate.
Yeah.
You know, the plates are heavy. You know,
They are pretty darn heavy. I mean, they are.
and we're not talking about plates in this movie. We're talking about soft armor. We're talking about Kevlar.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about level 3 Kevlar.
Right.
Which, you know, good for handgun rounds, not so much for rifles.
Right.
Which, since we're on the subject, the Secret Service guys are firing what, MP5s?
It looked like it. Yeah.
Which are 9mm?
Yeah.
So the Kevlar, unless they're using some sort of, you know, crazy cop killer round, which they're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
The government's not going to spring for those. You know, say they're using hollow points or, you know, ball rounds.
Yeah.
The Kevlar conceivably, and sometimes Kevlar fails.
Maybe that's what happened.
But we'll assume that the Kevlar did its job.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
You know, it kept the bullet from penetrating. That's still a lot of foot pounds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's still, like you said, you know, potential breaking of ribs, potential of internal damage.
We're talking like what, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch of Kevlar weave.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah,
yeah. I think there were some definite messages in this movie about perceptions, right? Perceive, because we've heard it over and over and over. The left is absolutely convinced that if Donald Trump is elected again, he's going to be a dictator, right? I think that's what the lean was on this.
I'm trying real hard not to draw those kinds of parallels to the movie.
Okay.
Not to make it, you know, oh, he's talking about Trump.
Right.
I really try to avoid that because I don't think he really is. Maybe he's, you know, got a little, you know, there's a little undertone to it.
Interesting parallels.
There is some interesting parallels, but
put it that way.
I put that out of my mind. I didn't get that feel.
Okay.
Per se, I could see how someone would.
Yeah.
I didn't get that feel.
Okay.
You know, going back to the scene where Lee got shot.
Right.
This is another one of those just victim of bad writing.
Yeah.
Because earlier in the movie, you know, Jesse said, "Well, if I died, would you shoot it?"
Yeah, would you film it? Yep.
And then here we are.
Right.
You know, Lee goes down. Jesse gets up, turns around, snaps a pic.
Click, click. Yeah.
So this is just Sammy dying for no reason all over again.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. The Jews.
It was the, hey, look at the foreshadowing.
Yep. There was some real silliness in the movie, while at the same time, and that's what's so frustrating about the movie for me, is there were some truly good moments. moments.
Yeah,
I do
the
believe-
overarching theme of the movie was good.
Mhm.
The premise was good.
Yeah.
Execution, and
Let's just say left a lot to be desired.
and the writing really
Yeah.
really was wanting.
Yeah. And that was one of the frustrating things for me out of many is
I think we had a comment there.
the lack of I think it was something on the
Oh,
phone.
okay.
The lack of character development
Mm-hmm.
or backstory or any other than dad's on a farm,
Right.
pretending this doesn't exist.
Well,
That's it. That's
but-
the entirety of the backstory.
Yeah. Well, there's not supposed to be a character development because
Yeah.
in the writer's eyes,
Uh-huh.
the movie's not about the characters.
Right.
The characters are just the vehicle
Yeah.
that takes us through the story.
Mhm. Yeah. But the plot is the plot
You know,
and the
for-
writing aren't strong enough.
Yeah,
to stand on
for
their own.
all it for all it really matters in the
Mhm.
writer's eye, the main character could be a '78 Ford Maverick. It's it's just got to get you there.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And again, it's infuriating because there were some truly good cinematic moments in the movie.
Right. But there was too much focus on those cinematic moments
Yes. Yeah, to the detriment
of the story.
of the story
Mhm.
and the characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if you had some good solid, characters and some growth there. But
Well,
unfortunately,
I think the biggest injustice as far as the characters went was pick a style.
yeah.
Either we don't give a shit about the characters,
Yeah.
or we do.
Or we do.
Don't half-ass it.
Mhm. And that was the real crime.
Like, there was this half-hearted attempt to, give Lee a soul near the end,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden, the weight of everything she's done over the years has finally, been too much to bear.
Right.
And now she's sitting there bawling in the middle of a war zone.
Right? What?
Yeah, what? Stay back in the truck.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like, what? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and then just snaps out of it.
yeah,
Just snaps out
just
of
like
it.
that.
Oh, the president's not in the car. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the car too while we're at it.
Yeah,
I know we're all over
yeah.
the place, but the car
That's kind of our
definitely,
style.
kind
It's an
of
ADD fest.
bears mentioning.
Yeah, the beast.
So you got the two SUVs with the Secret Service guys
Mhm.
and probably some cabinet members,
Right.
and then you've got the limo, the town car.
Yep.
That has the first lady in it.
Yeah.
The Western Forces gun down everybody in those three vehicles.
Yes.
The first lady gets out, hands up
Yep.
in a dress.
Yep. Obviously,
Don't
not
shoot.
the president. Yep.
Apparently,
They
to the
execute.
Western Forces, don't shoot means switch to full auto
Apparently. Yeah.
because they gun her the fuck down.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like,
I mean,
not
they-
even a hint of anything else.
When they hit DC, they were out for blood. Anything that moved, kill it.
Yep.
They blew up the Lincoln Monument
Yeah. Yeah.
because that is such a strategic point.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Incredible strategic value there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to put mortars up on the roof and just bomb the shit out of the Lincoln Monument.
Yeah. Yeah. And the White House. Yeah. They were just lobbing mortars and
Yeah.
until
No, not a single mortar at the White House.
Right. No, that's what was exploding when they said the tank was about to roll in, and then they said, tell them to stop the mortars.
No, they said kill the mortars. It was the mortars at the
Oh,
barricade
I
to the
thought
White
they were
House.
Talking about
No.
okay,
They said kill the mortars
gotcha.
because they were throwing mortar strikes on the other side of the barricade.
Okay.
Yeah.
See what?
White House,
Yet another
untouched.
right.
But
Right.
we're going to blow up every, historical, landmark.
Yeah. It was just at that point. It was just
It was gratuitous.
gratuitous explosions for
And-
the sake of.
I can only assume that was, a stylistic choice,
Mhm.
to drive home the Western forces bloodlust at that point. You can't call it anything other than that.
No, you can't. Yeah, and there were like no like people anywhere other than
that we know
combatants
that we know of,
right? But it's not
like
they
said
stopped to
the
slow
generals
down.
all surrendered.
Yeah,
there was nothing between them and DC,
right?
Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They said a couple do or die soldiers and some Secret Service guys, like a ragtag force,
right?
And they went in full strength and just started blowing shit up.
Yeah, just like you said,
which just
straight up
kind
executing anyone.
Yeah, kind of felt to me like that whole, when people, get frustrated with what they, with what they don't agree with, they just go nuts. Or what some people would call a mostly peaceful protest.
Right, exactly. Mostly peaceful protests. Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Right.
Yeah.
So, there was that.
Yeah. And some have remarked that was done intentionally to show there were no good guys. Right. I found it.
And I agree with that.
I do agree with the fact that there are no good guys in the movie. But again, just a bit gratuitous.
Yeah, it was definitely heavy-handed.
Oh yeah. I mean, of course, the final scene in the movie, right? Where they're all gathered around, drag him out from behind the desk.
Yeah,
right?
In the Oval Office.
In the Oval Office.
That's obviously where he'd hunker down.
Right. Of course, he's not going to be in a secure location. Even in the White House, he's not going to be in a bunker or any secure
there's no
room.
panic rooms in the White House.
Right. He's going to be in the Oval Office while the White House is being assaulted.
Right.
Of course. Anyway, they drag him out from behind the Oval Office, of course, right? And there's this heavy emphasis on what a coward he is, right? Begging not to die.
Hold on.
Okay.
It's easier to throw that word around. Okay.
Yeah.
Coward.
Right.
When you got 6 fully armed soldiers.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Dragging you.
Yeah. But I'm saying that's the portrayal, right? That's what they're going for. Is what I picked.
Yeah. When he's like, okay, wait. I need a quote.
Right.
Yeah.
Please don't let them kill me.
Yeah, don't let them kill me. Yeah, that'll do.
Right. What? Huh? Yeah. And anyway, they execute him, right?
Yeah, obviously.
And then they take that photo, which is what the end scene was.
Yeah,
right?
when the credits roll.
White, photo of big game hunter type thing.
Yeah.
The only thing they were missing was having him strung up.
Yeah, it looks like those photos that were leaked out of Guantanamo Bay.
Yes, exactly.
Which I didn't think of till just now.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder if there's
I wonder if that was the nod.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But it was just it was so aggravating because there were so many missed
it was so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got maybe big name is a little bit of a stretch, but a prominent actor like Nick Offerman. Right? He was like the big draw of the movie.
Right.
Honestly,
he was the only person in the movie I cared about.
No offense, Kirsten Dunst, but when was the last time you were relevant?
Right.
Spider-Man?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
So the biggest name.
Dude, she looks so old in that movie.
Well, I mean,
she's only like 40 something. She looked like she was like in her 50s easily.
That was kind of,
But I think that maybe that was intentional.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude, but she was like, wow, okay.
That is what it is. Mm-hmm. But, come on, man. The biggest name you got in your movie, and he's only in the movie
30 seconds,
45 seconds, a
Maybe.
minute.
Yeah, it was that really made me angry, dude.
Yeah.
Like Nick Offerman, man, the man's a
Yeah.
national treasure.
Yeah, Ron Swanson does not abide.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But okay, so rating. Yeah, 0 out of 10.
We're going 0 out of 10.
Yeah, or 0 to 10, I should say. Sorry.
0 to 10.
Yeah, 10 being, the greatest movie on the face of the planet.
Just as a movie,
Yeah,
I give it a 4.
a 4. Okay. All right.
I give it a 4.
Okay.
It's a little dry, a little independent movie-ish.
Yeah.
It was a real missed opportunity.
I agree with that.
I
I think it could have been so much more.
it was watchable.
Yeah, it was watchable. I give it. I actually would give it a 5. I would give it a 5 just because there were some really good scenes, and the cinematography in certain scenes
Mm-hmm.
was exceptional.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, totally.
Unfortunately,
But
you saw most of them in the trailer.
Right. It's one of those movies where the whole is not greater than the sum of its parts.
Right. Yeah, you can easily
It's kind of like,
look up the scenes and
so Civil War is to like a military movie
yeah.
what Showgirls is to that type of movie. If you ever saw
I
Showgirls,
did, but it's been a while.
yeah, it's
Rather forgettable.
yeah.
honestly.
Totally forgettable.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the
once
point,
again,
yeah.
like dude, I've never seen a movie, Showgirls, not Civil War,
Okay.
that had so much nudity,
Yeah.
and I didn't give a damn.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
after about 5-10 minutes, it's just
Yeah.
like, okay,
Meh, okay.
I've seen her tits. I'm good.
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know what movie was like really, really completely like off track, but
Speaking of movies,
yeah, well, speaking of nudity, right?
Uh-huh.
And ratings, really. So you ever heard of them? I'm pretty sure the name of it is Bad Lieutenant. It was like the first X-rated movie that was on like TV or something.
I'm
You ever
not
heard of
familiar
it?
with it. No.
Okay. I still to this day have no idea why it received that rating because there was nothing in it like at all. When
Right.
it came out, I was in my teens and I was extremely excited that it was going to be on Cinemax, which I had figured out how to see past the, the screen. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
the fuzz,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, not to date ourselves.
Yeah, not to date myself. But I'm like, oh. And there was like nothing there, man. Nothing there. And that's the only reason I even remember that movie at all was because of the crushing disappointment I felt.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with this one.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, it was definitely a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Had it not been for the crushing disappointment, I don't think I would even like remark on it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm talking about Civil War.
We're talking about Civil War. Yeah, I mean it's watchable.
Yeah, but exactly. Yeah, it's watchable. Especially you want to put it on in the background and pay attention to a few scenes here and there that are decent. I can think of worse movies to have playing.
Yeah. Still better than Dawn of Justice.
Yeah. The Joker.
We don't talk about that movie. That movie was terrible. You got me started now. That movie was filmed like it was filmed in 1974. And it would have been a bad movie for 1974.
Yeah. I know. He hates
Terrible.
the movie.
Absolutely terrible.
He hates
You
that
should be
interpretation.
ashamed.
Hates that interpretation of the character.
Everything.
Everything.
There's nothing. nothing good about it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. You should be ashamed of yourself, Joaquin Phoenix.
There you have it from the man himself.
Yeah.
So what do you for the viewers who have been kind of waiting to see what's going to happen as far as the date, the days that we're going to be on? You said we can continue on Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesdays are gonna work.
Okay,
My
so 8 a.m.
Wednesdays-
Central on Wednesdays. We're
Pretty
going to
sure my
continue.
Wednesdays have opened up. There may be an exception here or there.
Okay,
We may have to pre-record,
right.
but
But in general, we'll be here live every Wednesday, 8 a.m. And I hope you'll join us. We'd love to hear from you. Drop your comments in the chat, especially if you want to argue with him about Joker. That would be
garbage. Morbius was better, and Morbius sucked.
I don't know, man. That's a heck of a statement.
I stand by it.
Wow.
I
Okay.
stand by it.
I fell asleep during Joker.
Not a Jared Leto fan, but
Yeah.
better than Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was his Joker better from Suicide Squad? As you can tell, I really enjoy getting them riled up.
You know, I think let's talk about the Joker for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
In cinema.
Joker in cinema.
I feel like Joaquin Phoenix aside,
right.
each Joker was the right Joker for the movie it was in.
Okay.
You know, Jack Nicholson was the perfect Joker for the Tim Burton Batman.
I agree with that.
You know,
Yes.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
How do you even top that?
I agree.
How do you even top that? Just amazing in Dark Knight.
He was. He made that movie,
Yeah.
man. I mean, absolutely.
Jared Leto's Joker, while I did not like it,
Me
but it made sense in context.
either.
When you look at the movie as a whole, which wasn't great,
No,
I
that movie
enjoyed
sucked.
it. I enjoyed the movie,
Yeah.
which is not to say it's a good movie.
It wasn't a good movie. Yeah. I made it through it, is about all I can say.
Yeah, it was better than the sequel.
Oh, the Suicide
The
Squad?
Suicide Squad. That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. That was nothing but a 2-hour setup for Peacemaker series.
Fair.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all it was.
I enjoyed the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I like it. Anyway.
Even Suicide Squad, Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker in
Mhm.
Suicide Squad was, I won't say it was good, it was appropriate.
Okay.
And for what he was given,
Mhm.
I think he did the best he could with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not a Jared Leto fan.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
can see
hate
that.
Jared Leto.
Right. I don't hate him either.
I really don't have a
feeling
feeling about him one way or another as an actor.
Kind of irrelevant as far as I'm concerned.
I've only seen him in a few things.
Yeah.
Honestly, I find Jared Leto mostly forgettable.
Yeah. Same. That's what I'm saying. Rather
he
unremarkable.
he was very forgettable. He was forgettable. I mean, he did the best he could in Suicide Squad for the few Joker scenes that were there.
Right.
But I think most of it
were
ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
In Blade Runner 20, whatever the sequel to Blade Runner was.
Yeah, 2047, 2147.
I don't know. Whatever the sequel was there,
Yeah.
his character was pretty forgettable.
Right.
I just now remembered he was even in the movie.
Me too. Yeah, same. That's what I
Morbius,
mean.
the only reason that he wasn't forgettable in Morbius was because he was legitimately the main character.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you take him out of the movie, there is no movie.
Yeah, there's no
It's
movie,
just
right.
like,
Yeah.
what if Doctor Who was a vampire?
Yeah. I still haven't seen Morbius. My understanding is I'm not really missing much. So,
You're not missing much. Once again, I think they could have done more with it.
yeah.
I don't know if there's like some grander scheme in the works.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell with, Disney and the
Yeah.
MCU.
Right.
They pick up and drop things on a whim.
Yeah. And destroy just about everything they touch.
Yeah. And Morbius isn't one of the better known characters in the
Right.
mainstream.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Again, frustrating because there's so much potential with that character.
There is.
There really is. Yeah.
And he was one of those characters in Marvel that was like, he started out as kind of a bad guy.
mhm.
The bad guy who wasn't really a bad guy. He
Yeah.
just did bad things,
Right.
for the right reasons, I guess.
Anti-hero kind of.
Yeah, kind of an
thing,
anti-hero kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then was, gained prominence as a hero.
Right. Right.
So I don't know if they're setting up, because they're doing a reboot of Blade.
Yeah, I saw something about that. Are they getting Wesley Snipes to do it?
No,
Who are they putting?
I don't
do you
remember
know?
who they're getting.
I was gonna
but
say
it's
he's
not-
pretty.
It's not Wesley Snipes. It's
Yeah.
an entirely new actor. But, with the reboot of Blade and Morbius, and I'm sure they'll be doing a reboot of Ghost Rider soon enough.
Oh, I'm sure
They're
they're gonna milk that franchise for anything and everything. I'm talking
so
about
that
MCU.
that becomes like the perfect setup for the Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Which was a thing
Mhm.
in Marvel in the 90s.
Yeah, there's a game out, by the way, called Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a Marvel game?
Marvel game? Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. It's on computer and consoles, and it's a strategy game, but it's like has cards, but not like normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I've seen some gameplay of it. There's a demo that I tried. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But one of the interesting things about it is there's actual lore and character arcs and excellent conversations
Right.
in it, and that's what I found compelling.
Well,
about it.
because it's really important to understand the characters,
Yeah,
in Midnight Suns, because a lot of them aren't exactly, your A-list,
Right.
household name
yeah,
Marvel heroes.
right.
I mean, you're talking about, you had Ghost Rider,
Mm-hmm.
Morbius,
Yep.
Blade,
Mm-hmm.
Werewolf by Night,
Yep.
and Johnny Blaze, who was the original Ghost Rider,
Right.
but he cured himself for some nonsense.
Something. Yeah.
But he ended up with a shotgun that shoots hellfire.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
So it got a little convoluted there.
Yeah. just a smidge.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's kind of how it all gets kind of convoluted
Yeah.
with constant reboots and
Yeah.
recasts, and we're going to change this part of the story, even though it's
Yeah, we're going to
critical.
retcon this.
Yeah,
and,
retcon this and change that.
Mhm.
And I guess that's the nature of fantasy / fiction
Yeah.
comics is
Which, if I had advice for comic makers, stop it.
yeah. Yeah.
You had really good stories.
Oh yeah.
You can redo those stories. You can update those stories with modern, modern artwork
Mhm.
and settings that are a little more contemporary.
Yeah.
Without getting rid of those really good stories. They still work
They do
for the most part. Some
For
of
the
the things
most
are
part,
dated.
Yeah.
You update those parts, but you don't have to retcon the whole thing.
Everything. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop there before I
Or you get off on another tangent.
before I get off on a rant and
Right. Right. Yeah.
start slamming marginalized groups.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Just talking anymore can be seen as hate speech. So, yeah, just expressing your opinion about anything anymore is, taboo and against
I guess that's fair, because most of my opinions are negative most of the time.
it's what
Doesn't
keeps you
make them
entertained.
untrue.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Doesn't make them untrue. Most of the things we experience in our lives are a matter of opinion anyway.
Mhm.
Most of our statements, most of our belief systems are just that, belief systems and are based on our particular experiences.
Right.
So, if I want to believe that something is something, then I'm going to believe that. And me stating so is my opinion.
Right.
I do it on the show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So deal with it.
Right.
Deal with it. Don't like it, don't watch it. Or listen to it or whatever. But obviously people tune in. So hey, it is what it is. So what do you think we want to tackle next week?
Oh man, I don't know. We want to talk about the ATF and their wishy-washy policies.
Speaking of the ATF, I actually meant to mention this when you had mentioned the body armor in the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently they want to make body armor illegal now.
Well, in some states it already is.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Which states do you? Oh, wait! Don't tell me. California.
Probably.
Yeah,
that I don't know. New York definitely.
Big shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big shot.
Yeah, when we were taking a trip to New York, couldn't wear body armor at all.
That's what.
No guns, no body armor. Your knife had to be like under like 2.5 inches and couldn't be like a auto opening or out the front or anything like that, or that's definitely off the table.
Right. And they wonder why they have a crime problem. That's another thing. So allegedly, right, there are all these articles that are being put out talking about how, no, guys, really, crime is down despite all of the evidence you see in front of your face. It's just because it's more widely reported that,
let's look at that real quick.
Yeah.
When you say crime's down,
mm-hmm.
what does that mean?
Right.
That means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Crime is down. So what? Like, okay, so like California has decriminalized shoplifting.
Yep.
So I guess in that regard,
yeah,
crime's down.
Yeah. Because they're not prosecuting people for it.
Portland decriminalized drug use.
Yep.
So I guess in that regard, crime is down.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another big thing is that departments they're not required to report things to the agency, the FBI, that is compiling these stats, right? They always want to rely on the FBI statistics say,
Right.
Many agencies have changed how they classify crimes in order to float
and like just to say crime is down.
Right.
The crime, that is such a broad blanket, jaywalking's a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, in Indiana, it's still on the books, I believe, that having sex in anything other than the missionary position is a crime.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Indiana alone has some really, really off-the-wall laws. I've done a couple of shows.
Every state has some weird blue laws.
Some states have some, like, really off-the-wall laws, but yeah, I did an episode on that way back when, a couple of years ago, where I talked about some of the more esoteric and crazy laws that are still on the books.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So what? Talk about how garbage the ATF is and why they should be delegitimized and ran out of every single state that exists. But
that's a very long discussion or a very short one, depending on your perspective on it.
Yeah, true.
But just how, first of all, just how they decide to sidestep the legislative process on a daily basis.
Yep.
And want to, about face on the things that they, have already previously either approved or denied.
Right. And there's hearings going on right now where they're bringing up these very points, but much less phenomenally as you, of course. So for my listeners, you can't see the look of pure derision I'm getting, but hopefully you'll tune in and get to see it sometime. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of time for today. I hope you'll join us next week, Wednesday, 8 a.m. for coffee break. I'm Dion, and I'm with my friend Jim, and we will endeavor to keep you entertained. without further ado, God bless you, God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America.
Amen.
See you guys very, very soon.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.